For those in the back who I didn't get a chance to introduce myself to, my name is Andrea. I am the Speaker of the Senate. I welcome you guys to our meeting. So the first order of business today is the adoption of the agenda, followed by quorum, followed by new business. And within new business, we have the Cabinet Confirmation Bill, as well as Senate Bill 4, Student Government Association Bylaws Format Restructuring Phase 1 Bill, as well as the old business, Senate Bill 2, the Financial Bylaw Bill, followed by the President's and Vice President's report, followed by the Treasurer's report, followed by the Chief Justice report, followed by Senate Committee reports, then the Advisory report, Reserve Seat reports, and then public comments and announcements, followed by adjournment. Is there a motion on the floor at this time?
What an inquiry. Shouldn't old business be before new business?
Would you like to make an amendment? Senator Jacobs.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I would like to make a friendly amendment to move old business to point 3 and switch it.
There's a motion on the floor to switch old business and new business. Is there a second? Is there any opposition? No opposition. Mr. Chief of Staff, would you mind making that present?
Sounds good. Bad question. Joy, go ahead.
Is there any other motion on the floor at this time? Senator Sims. There's a motion on the floor to approve the agenda. Is there a second? Is there any opposition? Excellent. All right, so the next order of business is quorum. Today we met quorum at 12, I believe? 13, I apologize, 13. And now we move on to old business. Give me a second to catch up. Mr. Chief Staff, would you mind bringing up the Senate Bill 2 for the Financial Bylaw Bill? And if the chief sponsor of this bill, would mind stepping forward? Would a representative from her committee like to step forward? Thank you. Are there any questions at this time about this bill for the committee? No? Okay. Would you mind bringing up my motions list? It's on the Google Drive. Thank you. Okay, so the only motion for this bill that was presented to me ahead of time was to enter voting procedure. Are there any other motions before we do that at this time?
Yeah.
No further motions before? Okay, so in which case, everyone are any voting procedures? Or is there a second? Any opposition? Awesome. Then if you mind getting out your papers. Oh, that's crazy. A is nay, or sorry, A is yay and B is nay for this bill.
Yes.
Yes. Still vote. Tuesday just don't vote. Can't see it. But with 80%, 83% yay, 70% nay, this bill clearly passes. All right, Mr. Chief of Staff, would you mind bringing up Senate Bill 3? All right, so ahead of time, opposition, Mr. Chief of Staff, would you mind adding Mr. Chief Justice Ronald Rugg to the list of cabinet confirmations?
Is that on the agenda?
So just like,
I'm sorry, I'm trying to figure out how to scroll. Right here?
yeah. Just like Chief Justice Ronald Rugg.
On what? Good.
RUGG.
Thank you.
So there's also a motion on, the only other motion sent to me ahead of time was to fast track this bill. So before we do that, is there a less destructive motion on the floor? Senator Nichols.
For point of information, well, actually, the Mission Creek. Are we allowed to approve or a director if they aren't here at cemetery? Does it have to be present or YouTube? You know,
Are there any other motions on the floor at this time? Okay, so now we're going to move on to the motion to fast track. Is there a second to fast track this bill? Is there any opposition? Okay, because there is opposition, we're going to take a rising hand vote. All in favor of fast tracking this bill, please raise your hand. Okay, all opposed? All right, with 7 opposing and 6 for the fast track, this bill will not fast track. All right, can we please move on to Mr. Chief of Staff, would you mind bringing up Senate Bill 4 for me? Oh, gosh, I didn't enter second reading status. My bad. Are there any other motions on the floor this time? Senator Jacobson.
thank you, Madam Chair. I move the bill to second reading status.
There's no motion on the floor to move this bill to second reading status. Is there a second? Is there any opposition? Okay, no opposition, this bill moves to second reading status. Now would you mind bringing up Senate Bill 4 for me, Mr. Chief of Staff? Awesome, thank you. The only motion that I had sent to me ahead of time was moved to second reading status. Is there a less destructive motion on the floor at this time? All right, no other motions on the floor. Is there a second to move this bill to second reading status? Any opposition? No opposition, this bill moves to second reading status. Oh wait, I'm going to point of order myself. Will the chief sponsor of Senate Bill 4 come forth? My bad. Just kidding. The previous motion died.
I'm actually going to yield the floor to Chief Justice Ron Rugg for Senate Bill 4.
Awesome. Hey, everybody. Are we doing all right?
It's time.
Chief Staff, can you bring my PowerPoint, please? Was the PowerPoint attached in the Senate PowerPoint?
It's in the Google.
Okay.
I put it in the Google Doc.
Everybody can hear me. I'm loud. Yeah. Is it on stuff we should?
Yep.
Gotcha. What? All right. Awesome. Everybody hear me all right? Okay, I'm pretty loud. There's nothing in the microphone. So, I am Chief Justice Ron Rugg, if you don't know who I am. Go ahead. All right, so one of the things I took on over the summer was to fix a lot of the formatting issues with the SGA bylaws. Over the last 8 to 10 years, a lot of people have amended and added, and with that came kind of a mess in the outline format that we were using. So, because of that, we need to kind of reconstruct how all the sections look. It's not necessarily changing anything. We're not making any changes today to anything that is said in the bylaws. We're simply just changing what the format will be and what the standard format will be going forward. It'll allow for any changes that do happen in the future to be more easily input without any more of those types of errors. Go ahead. All right, so some of the additions that hadn't yet been inserted into the bylaws was stuff that was passed from from last year was just a review, the reserve seat bylaw amendment, the Chief Justice requirements, some of the stuff changed there. Satellite campus addition to add satellite campuses to the off-campus life director, and amendments for the committee chair responsibilities. I took and went through all of the sessions I can get my hands on the last, basically all the way back to session 81, to go through and see if there was anything in there that had not been updated. Some of the seventh induction process, we're still trying to decide on what's going to happen with that. Amendments to some of the digital communication, and everything you see here was stuff that was updated in the bylaws that had already been passed. Go ahead. Go ahead. All right, so some of the things that were wrong. From page to page, the margins didn't line up. Sometimes you had Roman numerals, and some pages you have letters, and some pages you had numbers. So it didn't really make a lot of sense, especially for someone who wants to go through and amend, or submit a bill to amend anything. Sometimes you need what is on one page, point A, subsection C, is completely different from that on another page. So to create uniformity is kind of the goal here. Go ahead. So, for example, current format, a lot of stuff looked like this, which is you have a strikeout here, which if you go back through, there was nothing that struck that from the bylaw, so I don't know why it was crossed out. But also we have margin errors. Lots of this as we go through. Go ahead. So what I went through and did is I went ahead and reformatted with all new margins that are easy to use, so that when you hit enter or you hit tab, it takes you to the actual spot you should be typing into. Go ahead. So the current format, if you've ever read through the bylaws, you will see that, especially the director's section, which was added later, falls under in small Roman numerals, and as you go through the director's section, some of these are numbers here, and some of these are letters. And I don't really know why, but that was one of the main objectives of fixing this. Go ahead. So this is what it'll look like now. It'll be exactly, every director will have its own main sub-point in this section, and every sub-point that comes after that with their job title and duties will come with numbers. The only thing that was changed in the bill, which you'll see in the subsections on the bill, was to move the 4 points from E. If you go back one, please. These 4 points up here under E, where it says, where it goes to 1 through 4, go forward. I moved those to section 1, where it talks about the executive board duties. It simply adds underneath those duties a section for the directors, and then those are all subpoints in that section now. So I moved those up to create a better flow for every director to have their own subsection. Go ahead. Go ahead. So I went through probably about 30 or 40 different universities' bylaws. I went through all those people in the state of Virginia, because the state of Virginia has some more specific things, with it being, like we're still having a board of visitors, and it being funded differently. So you don't want to reach outside of the state too much, because the bylaws are going to differ a lot. Out of state, I went directly for the ones who do the most political science, the most legislation style courses, or they have the biggest or more popular SGA, if you can call that what that is. But go ahead. So everything we've done today, and everything that would be done with it being passed, is specifically to change the format and fix the format. It has nothing to do with anything that's written. Nothing that was written was changed. Everything is just to make it easier to navigate, for all the senators to navigate, for me to navigate, especially because I'm the one that has to put in everything you guys want to change. So it makes my job a lot easier. Go ahead. Go ahead. And that should be it.
Yep.
Yes. Okay. That's all.
Thank you, Chief Justice Ron Brock. Would you mind coming for your assistance? So are there any questions for the chief sponsor at this time? No questions? Okay, no questions. Is there a motion on the floor? Okay, so the only one that says we had time was to move to second reading status. Is there a second for that motion? Is there any opposition? If no opposition, this motion or this bill moves to second reading status. Next order. All right, so the next order of business for today is the President's and Vice President's report. Mr. Chief of Staff, if you wouldn't mind pulling up the report PowerPoint.
Hey, so can everyone hear me? Cool. So I don't like yelling, so I'm not going to. So first things first, for my report, I just want to kind of talk about what's going on with our federal government. I just want to let you guys know the DACA, the executive order that was issued by our president to repeal that, is there's going to be a rally next week. The university is closely monitoring what's going on. So if you guys want to attend that, you can definitely reach out to me and I'll get you more details. Or if you just kind of want to know more about the executive order itself, I can also help you with that. There is currently an open position on our executive board. So if you guys know anyone that is interested in the position or interested in joining SGA in executive capacity, please tell them to apply so we can quickly fill that position as issues are starting to roll in. I met with Elizabeth Kersey in the President's office. She's the assistant to the President for local, state, and federal government. And if you're a poli-sci major or any major that wants to do anything in politics, please reach out to me. And she has several internships coming up in Richmond, so it'll be a few months long internship. It's a great opportunity. We've had other fellow SGA members go in the past. They've all had great experiences and kind of gotten them a job right after college. Also, I met with the provost over the summer, James and I did. One of the initiatives that we're going to be working on with Courtney is we're going to be reaching out to our satellite campuses to get them more involved in academia, but also involved here more at the main campus as well. And for senators, I have a special little gift for you guys. So 2 years ago, I went to a conference called NCSL, or the National Conference on Student Leadership. It was a great leadership conference I went to. That's kind of how I developed my skills as a senator. It also helped me a lot in terms of being a leader and a senator. So if you guys are interested in that, please reach out to me. We'll be taking 6 people and an advisor. The application will open up next week, and I look forward to you guys applying and seeing who's all going on the trip. Thank you.
Next thing on the agenda is the Vice President's report.
Hey guys, I only have 2 quick things. So a finalized agenda of the retreat and the packing list will go out later today. So yay. And so Thursday, LSI is having an ice cream Thursday for a meet and greet. So the LSI office staff will meet the SGA sitting senators as well as exec members and prospective senators. And so the org MAAC, forgot what that stood for, and NABA, they're going to be co-sponsoring the LSI ice cream Thursdays with us. So come out and I'll send you guys a reminder email after this.
Mo is a little under the weather today, so he couldn't come give his report. However, he doesn't have one this week, so it worked out.
All right, bear with me a little bit today. So, first thing I want to report is that I did select all my associate justices. So we have that finished up. Now, most of the time they will not be here. And the reason for that is that I have been doing a lot of other things, and requiring them to come to this on top of everything else I have been doing is when I'm already going to be here isn't a real fair use of their time. So the things I have them doing is I have all of them are going to be sitting on the Academic Integrity Council. I'll have one person that's going to be sitting on the Housing the housing board. One person will be sitting on the parking and transportation council, and I have the others doing bylaw review, or will also be doing all the judicial review for any of the bills that come in. So as they come in, they will be coming to meetings throughout, so you'll be able to meet them, who they are. Tony Modre, who was going to come in today, but I failed to tell him that it's a formal dress-up event, so that's on me. Some of you know Haley McQuinn. She's another associate justice. I have brought in Dasha Dillard as well, and Andrew Frazier, and all of them should be making their way in as the semester goes on. All right, so next is a reminder of the infraction process. There is a lot of absence at Senate. There's a lot of people who don't fulfill their commitment, and granted classes get delayed. But if that's going to be the case, you need to reevaluate what your priorities are going to be and speak to Andy. Now I know that I'm speaking to a lot of people who aren't here, but I just want that to be put out, and you can tell whoever else isn't here to make sure that they talk to Andy about what it's going to be in the future as the bylaw changes continue to come out for senators. Judicial review. Make sure that if I send you an email or if I put anything out or comment on any of the bills that you write and put in the judicial review or put into the new bills folder, that you guys are checking that and kind of go through what the comments I have, answer anything. Sometimes we are there simply just to make sure that everything matches with what it is you're trying to do and to help you out. So the tougher parts of today are a couple of things that were done last year that did not follow the Constitution, and we have to address those. Number one being that there was a joint resolution for term limit passed last year. That was to limit the Chief Justice's term to 1 year. That was supposed to have been put up for student vote within 30 days. It was not. So according to the Constitution, it now does not pass. So if you want to do that, you are going to need to make sure that you go ahead and resubmit that bill for this session. And then also Rules Bill 1 for the 85th session. While I was going through, I could not find where we changed the rules on how senators are inducted. Now, the system that we have isn't bad. It's not that it's not enough than anybody else, but unfortunately the correct process wasn't used. It was simply wrote into a rules bill, but the Constitution specifically states how senators are to be inducted. So from going forward, they have to follow that rule. And if not, then I will be forced to challenge every senator that's inducted after that. Now, I know I've already been talking with Andy, and we're already working on a way to fix that now. But just going forward, if people cannot be inducted except for under the correct process. And that is all I've got. Thank you. Mm-hmm.
What's the correct process?
The correct process for Senate induction is for the process we're using now with the interview process in a panel. It's supposed to be the Speaker, the Chief Justice, and the President, and they're supposed to come meet with us, and then we give our recommendation, and they come before Senate, and Senate has to vote to induct that person. And because that hasn't been happening, we have to make sure that happens from here forward. Yes.
Does it affect the search in any way?
No, not currently. Yes.
Will this affect anyone who who's already in, but is in our?
No, I wasn't brought in until the 87th session, and so I'm making the correction now before we go any further forward, so that we can make sure that it's done right. And basically, this is an opportunity for us to fix it now before it becomes an issue going forward. Any other questions? All right, awesome. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, this is neat. Okay. You guys all dressed really well today. I'm very proud of you all. Okay, so I decided that because you can never be too perfect in your Robert's Rule of Order, what I'm going to start doing now is to do like a Robert's Rules fun fact of the week. So this week, the fun fact is the difference between point of order, point of information, and point of inquiry. A point of order is like if I were to misspeak, like today, like I point of order myself because I didn't let Ron present his bill. And the point of the information is like you have information on the bill. So like let's say that there's like a question or like a conflict happening, you can like point of order, like I know the solution to the problem. And the point of inquiry is you have a question. So I think you had a point of inquiry earlier today, didn't you?
I did this.
Yes. That's a good example. So I wanted to say good job to everybody for submitting their motions. We had a couple of duplicates. I'd like to see more people submit more stuff. A good job. Really happy everybody's reading the bills. Let's see. So my speaker pro temp, Zach, is stepping down as pro temp, which means that coming up, we're going to, this isn't like immediate, but coming up, we're going to have to appoint a new pro temp. So if anybody who's a senator already is interested in the position, make sure you're nominated when we get that procedure. Okay? That's everything for, I didn't induct everybody. So I was informed earlier today that I have to induct all of the senators for this session. So, everybody can stand and raise their right hand for me. All right, you're going to repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear or affirm to vow to uphold the vision and mission of Old Dominion University through my service to the student government, the entirety of the student body, and the university, and impartially execute for the welfare of representation of all students, the duties of as prescribed by the Constitution of the Student Government Association and the Old Dominion University Student Conduct Policy. Okay, next order of business. The Chief of Staff report. Do you want to come and introduce yourself?
How's it going, everybody? My name is Tyler Zwislak. I'm the new chief of staff, I guess. I just want to say I'm excited to work with you guys, and we're going to do great things. So, thank you guys. I'm a pre-med bio major, sorry. I'm a sophomore. We're good? All right, let's put that up. This is what it's like.
One more time.
This is what it's like.
There's like waiting for like a slight change when you're just all right, next order of business. Secretary report.
What's up, everyone? So to make it a little bit easier for the office sign-in, I created a Google Sheet. So how's it gonna work out is after you all have done your sign-in for your office hours, you're gonna go to the Google Sheet and sign in your name, the date, the time clock in, the time clock out, and then by the end of the week, I will check it. I want to do that for the exec board too, just be all on the same page. And
So are we supposed to use the binder in the office, or are we supposed to use the Google Doc?
no, I'm gonna take it.
Okay, so say like I do 2 office hours. Say I do 1 office hour one day and 1 day the next. So do you want me to like log in under 2 different slots, like my name?
So just put your name down for one day and another one for the other.
Okay.
Day.
year in last session, we had to do office hours between certain times, like 9 and 6 p.m. But previous sessions, you could do that whatever time you want. What's the decision for this session?
My decision for this one is, you can do it whenever you want your office hours. Just,
So what is your like week? Because like last year the week was like Tuesday to Tuesday. Is yours like Monday?
my week is from Monday to Friday.
So do we have to, so are we like not using the Steve's time clock anymore for that, or are we using that?
No, wait,
This is-
wait, you do use the seat time clock, that's how we keep our office.
Okay, so we're doing good.
Yeah, we're
Do
doing
I
good.
understand? There's clarification.
Are there any more questions for Secretary Battle?
How are you going to be like checking and making sure people are actually during the office hours if it's online?
So, what I need for, that's a good question. And that's why, what I need from the exec board and from the community directors is for them to, like, make sure that everyone's doing the office hours. So,
Point of information, we had a discussion about that, and the conversation that we had was pretty much that like you can just walk into the office for 5 minutes in line and say that you're doing your 2 hours, or you can log into the computer from home. It's the same kind of honor system, so if you're lying before, if you're still going to line up, it's just to be honest is what we're saying.
are there any more questions?
So, are you gonna, so if I was to, you're right, if I was to do, not back to off time, would I receive like a fraction or like a warning or something? Is a fraction like a fraction?
Yeah,
Okay.
this is it.
Same as lunch. Are there any more questions for Secretary Battle? Awesome. Thank you. What exactly?
Remember, when Amy passed her rules, though, she did ask me about decorum. So when you do speak in Senate, please remember to stand up.
Okay.
My bad.
Next order of business. Yeah. Sorry. So, Director Lucas.
What?
No.
Happy birthday to you.
Thank you all.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear President. Happy birthday to you.
Good evening, how are y'all? Good. The first thing I would like to tell you guys is that all the examinators have been stocked in the SGA office and in the library. The first survey Thursday that I'm planning to do will be on October 5th during activity hour. I'm working with all the directors to create a survey, and I will share the responses with Madam Speaker, and she can share those with you. And the committee meetings for the admin affairs will be every Monday at 4:15 in here. That's it.
Rocky is not here. Did she get the report to anyone? Next order of business? Director Wesley.
Okay, so I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. I have been meeting with Ms. Lisa Clark at OIR, and so on the 14th, between 6 and 8, and OIR upstairs, there's going to be a reflection space to talk about DACA and just for any students who want to give their opinion, how they're feeling, or who just want to talk to someone. And there will be refreshments, and it's from 6 to 8, so if you're also interested in that, just let me know. And then September 18th, which is next Monday, we have Adelante, which means ahead in Spanish, and it's basically like the Latino Student Alliance is having basically a big forum. It's called Unapologetically Brown. And we would just love for some SGA members to come. I know I'm going to be there for both events and just other organizations. So if you're in any other organizations like Trust, ASA, any organization organization. That would be great support, especially for like students who are going through that right now. And it will be in the big blue room at 6 p.m. And also my committee meeting times are 4:15 on Thursdays, and they will be in BOP. But this week, it will be in the president's dining room, and I will have some food. So if you're interested in being in my committee, legislative affairs, and diversity, just let me know. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Wesley. Director Cunningham, do you report this meeting?
So it's like a really pretty picture of me. I just thought it was okay, hey guys, and hello prospective senators in the back. My name's Courtney. Hey, my name's Courtney. I'm the director of Off-Campus Life. I have two quick things. So yesterday, my committee and I had our first committee meeting. It was really, really fun. Well, I think it was fun, but you know, you can ask them. They're shaking their heads yes, even though I'm saying it was fun. So our committee meetings are going to be Mondays at 5, and they're going to be in the President's Dining Room right across the way. We discussed two things yesterday, which I mentioned last week. We are creating a video to display different aspects of living off campus for students all around the university. So some of the aspects will be like living off campus, how to find an off-campus roommate, like library how-tos, like tutoring options, resources that we offer, so it's a lot. And all the slots are filled, but if you still want to be a part of the video, please let me know. I would love to see your bright, beautiful, shiny faces in the video around the university. That would be a great way to market. And the second thing is Student Legal Services, which is a resource that we are trying to get to our university. And it's some form of like a legal counsel aid. It will assist students with external needs like outside of the university. So for example, like if you need help with your landlord, if they're not being helpful with you this summer, side note, got a reckless driving ticket, need to talk to a lawyer. So anything of that sense, we are trying to bring that here to our school. So if you want to help out with calling different universities and seeing how they got their financial obligation, that would be greatly appreciated. Our meetings are Monday at 5. You can come see me if you have any questions. Are there any questions? Nope? All right. Have a great school year.
Thank you, Director Cunningham. And the next order of business, Director Campbell.
Good evening, afternoon, evening, everyone. So first, I want to talk about my office hours. I discovered I only have to do 4 weeks school, so they're going to be 1:30 to 5:30, and my committee meeting times are going to be 5:30 to 6:30 in the SGA office. As far as my report, after talking with my committee member, Morgan, anyways, we're going to be working on an SGA brochure pamphlet, so if you need any information about SGA, it's a nice little informative packet, so you don't have to hear like a whole 5-minute spiel, and you pretty much all your answers are questions. Questions are answered. Alright, private patrol this Friday. My lovely committee member can't make it, so I'm going to just ask everyone after Senate, if you're interested in doing private patrol this Friday, we can all come up with a time together, because my Fridays are open. Private patrol is really fun. You can see a lot of people issue citations, so if you're into that type of thing, talk to me after Senate. Snapchat takeover, so I told the exec board since I'm a little low on numbers right now, and I want to make sure we're reaching all the social media platforms. I'm going to be asking some directors, but maybe some members to take over our Snapchat. It's a day in the life in SGA, so if there's an event that day, or if there's an event you want to promote, you want to talk about it on our Snapchat, please let me know. I'll give you the login for the day, which will probably switch up the password just for protection, and then you can take it over, so just let me know. Next is our lovely historian, who I would love to come to the front of the room and introduce himself.
My name is Chris Wynn. Sophomore here at Oakland University, IT major, and yeah, nice to meet y'all.
Okay, next is homecoming contest. Homecoming is the last week of October, 6 today. So there are 6 contests we can participate in, but my goal is for us to do really well in 3, okay? So right now I'm going to ask you to vote for your top 3. Please only vote 3 times then. That makes sense. I'm going to go through all 6 categories first though. There's parade, which is on a Saturday morning. Office decor, which you pretty much decorate the SG office. Paint the town blue, where you go around and you pick the window at the web, the SRC, or the library, which is going to be on Monday that week. The dodgeball tournament, that Thursday afternoon. Paw the pavement, you paint a little pretty paw, coffin and ball, that's on a Tuesday. And then banner contest, she'll make the banner the week before homecoming week. So you get a twin sheet, paint on it. Yeah. So, if you want to participate in the homecoming parade, raise your hand. Executive board as well, because we're going to need as many participants as possible. paint the town blue. Hall the pavement. All right, 10 for hall the pavement. Banner contest. So 1. Are you? Is that a yeah? Yeah. 3. And then dodgeball. Okay, y'all want to be athletic though. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Alright, so it looks like our top 5 is dodgeball, office decorations, and polish pavement. I'll send a little sign up link in the group chat because for dodgeball, I think there's a certain amount that can participate. So if you know if you're not athletic, you can
Thank you, Dr. Campbell. Are you doing some educational work? No. Okay, just kidding. Next one.
Hello, my name is Steven, Director of Student Life. So currently, our committee meetings are, it says 5 on there, but they're really basically right after Senate. So whenever Senate ends, they'll be right in here. So if you want to stay and join us, you don't have to be a senator to come to committee meetings. Right now, we're working on legislation to improve some of the labeling within Broderick Dining Commons. So we're going to need help with people surveying students. So if you want help with that, we'll be going throughout the week to Broderick and just asking students if it's something they agree with to kind of get some student feedback on that as well. If you're interested in helping writing legislation, we already have some stuff that we are working on, so that's a good way to kind of get started. As a senator, you can come to our committee and work on that. That's all I have right now.
Thank you, Director Brown, Director Boss, report.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, you're good. Alright, so my report is kind of the same as last week. I'm working on the Big Blue Kickback with Jada Akeem and Wendy White. And if you guys don't know, it's the End Sexual Relationship Violence around campus, October 13th. Right now we're just reaching out to any co-sponsors that will like to help with that event. Something that I'm also working on is trying to bring calorie menus to all the dining commons. So I've been emailing back and forth with Tracy Connor. She's the registered dietitian on campus, and we're just trying to brainstorm see how we can fund this and bring it to campus. Another thing that I'm working on is stress relief retreats, and I'm working with Q Sellers, who's the wellness chair in his fraternity, Phi Beta Sigma. It's basically just to help students learn different coping mechanisms, especially during finals week, because everybody gets beyond stress during that time. And we're, oh yeah, that's pretty much it. And my committee meeting time is Tuesday at 1:30. Please come out and help me out. I have Juan as my chair. Yeah, Juan. And that's pretty much it. So, I mean, the meeting time is, like I said, well, I don't even know if that's right. But I'm very flexible, so let me know and I'll be with you. Where are the meetings? Yeah, in here, BOB. Come out and I'll try to figure it out. Thank you.
It's Pfizer. No reports? Okay. Next one. Reserve seat reports. Senator Hope, your
Hi everybody, I'm Senator Ho. I'm the ROTC Reserve Chair. Whole team reserves are arms out here right now. I would say that our programs are beginning right now. Our first event was actually yesterday, our PT and everything like that, but something that we don't have anything in terms of public stuff. I will be saying that I will be giving my seat to one of the 4 back there. So I'll be leaving transition in about a couple weeks. So I'm going to be yeah, I'm going to go my seat up. I guess this semester, I'm going to give you a fresh opportunity to have the chance that they don't be here every time. That's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator Ho. Senator Johnson, do you have a report this week? No. Senator Mayhew. Did I say your last name right?
Yes.
Senator Mark, she's not here. Senator Simpson, no report. Okay. Point of order. Yes.
We didn't do that.
Yo, not, you're right. Are there any public comments or announcements? Senator Wynn.
Hi guys, happy Tuesday. Fun fact, my name is also Chris Wynn. Yesterday I was asked to come along with Nicole Tiger of LSI to the web renovation presentation, which I thought was going to be really boring, but like, you know me, I'm really into all that design stuff, so I ended up like talking up a little storm in the air, but I just wanted to come back and present to you guys. I think that a lot of the stuff you're doing is really cool and you guys are going to enjoy it. And I would also like to get some suggestions. Maybe it'll be after this, maybe it'll be like over Group Me. If you guys have anything to say. I'm looking at my phone because I know I promise I'm not texting anybody back. But let's get started. So I think that the main theme or goal of all the renovations is to really invoke like the unity or community aspect of our school. I think that architecturally everything they're doing is just going to make like a more open floor plan. Everything's going to make a lot more sense in the former education building and in the web once they're finished with it. But I'm going to start off with the former education building because that is scheduled to be done in January. Hopefully, like everything goes okay, but if not, I'm sure Dawn will let us know. So in that building, they are moving the card center, the help desk, student conduct, Airmark offices, and web development to that office, which is going to be really cool. So if people come to the office with any questions, like we know now to send them to the former education building. I know when I was in web council, something that was brought up when like these plans were in order was making room for like military personnel at our university. And so in the blueprints, they have a meeting space, an office space, and a lounge area, which is really accommodating for them. I think that's awesome. Something that I'm really excited about that Michelle brought up yesterday at the meeting was we're going to be trying to implement like the history of ODU in the building, which is, I think is going to be really cool, really fun to like walk by and read like, oh, like ODU has this fact, that fact. And I think that the interior designer did a really good job of just making sure it's like easy to navigate in that building. She's choosing things that are like classic and modern, so we don't have to worry about our school looking tacky in a couple years. But yeah, I think that's really it for the former ed building. I'll move to the web. So I'm really excited about that because we're getting an additional meeting space, I think, like after everything's done. And again, like everything's a lot more open. Like they're tearing down like a wall. We're getting a quiet study room, a non-denominational reflection room, which I know like a lot of people were asking for. Quiet study space still. There's going to be places for you to lounge and just stuff like that. But I think that's something that's really interesting is we're going to be introducing affinity spaces. And so I'll just use me as an example. Like these affinity spaces, like if I was a new student here, so I'm Vietnamese. If I want to find like Asian people or Vietnamese people like me that I can identify with, like there's going to be like a space for me to go and like meet other people who are Asian and Vietnamese who might understand like me better. And the way that's going to be set up is there's going to be like a little mini lounge area. I kind of see it as like the front of the store where you guys get like a little like taste of what's going on, and then there's going to be like a back area which is going to be transparent, so it's not going to be like secluded or anything. That you can come back and like I don't know like do other stuff. But I think that's really cool. But yeah, I think that's really all that I have to report as of right now. If you guys have any suggestions, I'm going to try to get the blueprint from John as soon as he gets it, and I'll put it in the group meeting for you guys to look at. And honestly, like when you look at it, and if you guys have any suggestions, let me know, because they really took everything we had to say into consideration, and you can tell like they put a lot of the stuff we asked for in there. And so I think that it'd be awesome if we cooperated with them and just make like a web center and a former education building that both we and them envision. So yeah, thanks guys.
Anyone post comments? Senator Jacobs?
Hello. So I'm here to talk to you guys about something that one of the organizations I'm in is hosting. Monarchy Acapella is hosting an acapella competition at the beginning of December. It's called #VITE, which stands for Best in the East. It's an acapella competition where groups all up and down the East Coast will be coming here and competing, and we are asking for organizations to co-sponsor. You will get a tabling event, and you'll get some really cool acapella gear like t-shirts and wristbands and other stuff that we're going to talk about later. But if you are interested, please let me know. We have Nancy Klein. She is the chair of the music department, and we are trying to get in contact with the dean of the College of Arts and Letters. So we will have some faculty and administration support. So if you're interested, let me know.
Alright, so just take the time to have like public comments now because it's like a lineup. So like, you want to go next?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
Then wait, does anybody else have? Senator Sims? Okay, go for it. Just like one. Just like go. That makes sense. You know what I mean?
Good evening, everyone.
Hey.
Hey. So the academic chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated Charter Week is next week. Yay! Okay. So we're kicking off our Charter Week with a church service at Justine Baptist Church. It's going to be at 12 p.m. on this Sunday. And then we're having a fundraiser at Keith Francis from 4 to 6 p.m. That will be on Monday. So I encourage you all to stay tuned. We're going to have a lot of fun stuff. On Thursday, we are having a treat or treat in which we will bring in healthy snacks for children, and they'll get a cupcake in return.
Hi everyone, I have two announcements. Well, also, okay, so if you're not registered to vote, like, you're going to be seeing tables coming up soon to help you register to vote, especially freshmen or if you move. And also, the annual St. Philip Black Student Dinner is next Thursday, September 21st at 6 p.m. And you guys, like, if you haven't got an email about it, just let me know, because you have to RSVP by the 18th. But basically, at St. Philip is going to be a panel discussion of, like, former Black alumni who are doing things in the community, and the theme this year is community activism. So if anyone is interested in going, just let me know. And if you're interested in joining NAACP, we'll be having a meeting next Tuesday at 7 p.m., I believe, in the President's Dining Room. So have a good afternoon.
Hi everyone, I'm Zach Welton, Speaker President, and as Speaker Roscoe said, I am stepping down. I just wanted to give a little bit of clarification. With my commissioning coming up in the Navy in January, we have a few other obligations I found out about this past week recently that are going to be taking up my afternoons, so I don't want to think that I was just leaving. And also, at our exec meeting last week, there's a lot of talk about cohesion. So I'd like to see that the position is carried through by someone who's going to be here until next May, and understand that process until the end of the session. So, and the third point I'd like to second what Chief Justice Bugg said about setting an example of senators. As you can see, we have just about, if not more, prospective senators than we do senators here today. I'd like to see that we don't just meet quorum, but that we excel at, and we set an example for our student body. So I just want to say thank you guys.
Hi everybody, Brother to Brother will be having an academic workshop this Thursday night activity hour at Constant Hall, room 1005. We'll have the students, representative from the Student Success Center come speak to our freshmen and rising sophomores on campus just about academic resources like the Math Center, Writing Center, various areas of the library, and kind of sort of things that the Student Success does to help students. So if you're interested or know anybody who might be interested, just talk to me after the Center. I have some flyers to give out. And also for the directors and everyone who ordered business cards, they should be inbound to these.
Call. Our meeting time.
Oh yeah. And also, Brother to Brother, we meet every Monday from 3 to 4, and it's new education. It's 1106 Julian. Room 1106. 1106. 1106.
So my fraternity, Father Sigma Fraternity Incorporated, is having Walk Like a Sigma on Wednesday, September 20th, in the Board of Visitors Room, well, here, at 8:14. We also have our Miss Phi Beta Sigma Scholarship Pageant informational on September 18th, in the Williamsburg Room at 7:14. Oh yeah, Meet the Greeks is tomorrow at 7:30. Location?
Okay, location is in the North Cap.
North Cap. Come on.
Thank you, Senator Nguyen, for your awesome presentation. Actually, for you all, I do have the plan for Web Center, so I'll post that in the chat right after Senate. I do just kind of wonder how long two people do inventory. That's a lot of space and things that have to move. But secondly, prospective senators, before you leave today, please come talk to me. I want to know who brought you, because there's one more week on whoever brings the most people. I'm taking them to Fellini, so I'm keeping that open.
Any more public comments or announcements? Okay. So today we had the adoption of the agenda, followed by quorum, which was originally met at 13 and later met at 14. We went over new business, Senate Bill 3, Cabinet Confirmation Bill, as well as Senate Bill 4, the Student Government Association Bylaws Format Structure Phase 1 Bill. Both rooms got a second reading status. And then we had old business, Senate Bill 2, the Financial Bylaw Bill, which was passed. And we have the President's, Vice President's report,